Welcome to the Takeoff Podcast, the go-to construction podcast for construction professionals seeking inspiration, education, or motivation for the next steps in their career. Each Monday, you'll be joined by me, Mick Donaghy, Managing Director of Gedden Executive Recruitment and a respected name from the industry. A construction leader, a business owner, or someone in the thick of the action. The whole premise of this podcast is for you to get something from it. An idea, a connection, a mentor, whatever it is, I hope you get it. And I hope you enjoy the show. Without further ado, let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Takeoff Podcast. Today on the show, I'm thrilled to be joined by a veteran of the residential construction industry throughout Australia, Danny Assabgy. Danny is the CEO of Hudson Homes and is the brainchild of BuildBuddy. BuildBuddy is an interesting piece of tech equipment that we're going to find out a lot more about today. Designed for those with no building or trade experience, BuildBuddy simplifies the traditional building process using tech-driven approach. It guides users on what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and connects them with verified consultants, contractors, and suppliers throughout the residential building process. Danny's vision is to bring a collaborative and innovative touch to an industry that hasn't changed in over 50 years. Today in the show, we're going to find out more about Danny's story, how he got involved in construction, and what's driving him to create change throughout the industry. Danny, welcome to the Takeoff Podcast.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me today, Mick. Pleasure to be here.
Danny, do you mind sort of giving the listeners out there a bit of an introduction to who you are and what you do? I never feel I can properly do it justice.
Yeah, okay. I think you summarised it quite well. I am the CEO and founder of BuildBuddy. And I think what most people find quite ironic is that I'm also the CEO and founder of Hudson Homes. So Hudson Homes is a major Australian home building company. And I guess before the current slowdown, where our numbers have dropped a little bit, we averaged about 500 plus homes a year. The company was honoured to be named the 2023 Australian Professional Builder of the Year by the Housing Industry Association. And I've been in the building industry at a senior level for more than 20 years. In 2016, I was named by CEO Magazine as the Australian Executive of the Year for the building construction industry. And I mention these points to not so much blow my own trumpet, but rather that I think it's fair to say I've got a good understanding at a high level of how the entire home building process works, what doesn't, as well as having some first-hand experience on how I believe the home building process can be improved. Excellent. The reason I think it's ironic is I've just built an app called BuildBuddy, as you mentioned in your intro, that enables people to build their own home without having to engage a builder. Interesting.
But I'm actually really excited to talk about that because, that's a piece of tech that could really sort of transform, how we know that the industry to be. Obviously, there's always a demand for sustainable building. There's obviously a population growth throughout Australia continuously. It's more and more difficult to build. The prices of everything is going up at the moment. So I'm really keen to talk about that with you, Danny. But I guess, can you take me back to how you got involved in construction, how you got involved in residential building?
Sure. Unlike most people who end up as builders, I didn't start off as a trade. My background's actually in accounting and law. So I went to university. I did a commerce degree. I had a major in accounting. Some major in law. I started off working in insolvency and somehow worked my way into running a property company, an investment business. So we had a financial planning practice. Now, at that financial planning practice, we would recommend investment properties to a portion of our customers. And I kind of got sick of recommending the same type of properties to investors that everybody else was recommending. At that time, this is going back 20 years ago, it was apartments and townhouses that were the same as everybody else's. And I had this philosophy that if you really want to make money in the property industry, and that is as a consumer buying homes as an investment, then really you should be buying homes that owner-occupiers buy. The reason that is we tell our customers and our investors to make a decision with their head and not with their heart. But the residential industry, the home industry, is very different to that, and people make emotional decisions. They fall in love with homes. So back then, we were recommending Victoria, and we're a Sydney-based company. So I flew to Victoria, and I thought, who's the best home builder in Victoria that builds houses for mums and dads? And keep in mind, I had no knowledge of construction and I'd never been on a building site before, other than developing a little bit of property. So I approached Simmons Homes and I came up with this concept of creating an owner-occupier quality home for the investment market. They loved the idea. We set up a 50-50 joint venture, which we call Simmons Direct. I became the CEO of that company and it performed exceptionally well. I ran that for 2 years before they decided to buy that part of the business back off me. I had a 2-year non-compete. And 2 years and 2 months after walking away from Simmons Homes, I set up Hudson Homes, doing exactly the same thing. And originally started by offering investors with a better quality home than what the typical investment market was offering. From there, it just grew to expand through display homes and targeting owner-occupiers. And as I said, last year we were named, or this year, 2023. The 2024 awards haven't come up yet. Actually, they're this week. We were named Australian Builder of the Year, and that's how my journey progressed.
Well, congratulations on that. That's phenomenal. How, for someone who entered the construction industry, what was it like, coming into that area of the market, building a construction company without, I guess, technical building knowledge?
That's a great question, because when I first started the company, the first thing I wanted to do as I do when I build any company is you always find the best people you could find. And at the time, I found a gentleman by the name of Robert Borg. Rob Borg was the former general manager of Clarendon Homes. He's also general manager of McDonald Jones Homes. He was in his late 50s at the time. So he has been working in the building industry since he was 19 years of age. And he's forgotten more about the building industry than I'll ever know. And I brought him into our business on the very first day. And during the interview, we were sitting in my office, and Hudson Homes was about a month old. And he said to me, "So how many sales do you want to make this year as a startup building company?" And I said, 240 sales. He goes, "Wow, that's very ambitious for a startup builder." He goes, "Great." He goes, "So how many display homes do you have?" And I said, "Rob, well, we don't have any of those." He says, "Okay, how many salespeople do you have?" He says, "Well, I don't have any of those either." And he kind of looked at me and says, "Well, in all due respect, son, I don't think you're going to make 240 sales this year." We made 248 in our first year. Wow. We became the fastest growing company in Australia on the BRW Fast Starters list. I think it was 2015. And he didn't understand is that we had a different distribution model than what the traditional builder had. Because I didn't have that experience of doing exactly the same thing as what every other builder did, and I didn't have any display homes, we were forced to think outside the box and come up with different ways of marketing our properties. Now, we were very fortunate that we had a major financial planning company, and we had thousands and thousands of customers who were looking at buying homes, and we recommended 248 of those to our existing client base, and that's how we started, and then we just grew. We grew from that point onwards.
Incredible. So you're sort of looking at it. You're nearly taking like an advantage of not having construction experience, because you're not going in doing the same thing that every sort of construction person would do. You're coming in with a different sort of perspective of the industry and what you could achieve.
I think that's, if you had the same upbringing and you had the same career path as every other builder, then you're probably going to be doing exactly the same thing as what everybody else is doing. And that was certainly an advantage for me of not having that experience and being forced to think outside the square, which is kind of like what we're doing now with Build Buddy, because that is so outside of what any traditional builder does that people are thinking, hey, is it even possible that it's going to work?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. It's like Uber, the guys who created Uber, I mean, they're not taxi drivers, so it's not like you need to have experience every single time that you create something. You can come in with a different sort of perspective. And so obviously there's
something on that for you, Mike, because one of the first books that I read, and I read thousands of books on business and everything else, was a book by Michael Gerber called The E-Myth. I'm not sure if you've read it, but I highly recommend it to anybody starting out.
Book. Yeah.
And there's a great lesson in there where he uses two examples of a hairdresser and a mechanic, I believe it is. Mm-hmm. And he says to the mechanic, a mechanic will typically go out and start a mechanic workshop. Then a hairdresser will start a hairdressing salon. And his advice in the book is that the mechanic should go start a hairdressing salon and the hairdresser should start a mechanic workshop. And when you first hear of that, you think, that's just bad advice. But you know what? It's absolutely brilliant, because what I built was a business that built and delivered homes. And because I didn't know how to build the physical home, I was forced to create a business and create a system and create a process and build a team around having to deliver those objectives. And I think there's a great lesson in that.
The E-Myth is a phenomenal book, Danny. It's a great recommendation. It's probably the book that I go back to the most, because my business is a recruitment business. It's the same sort of thing. I've been recruitment 12 years and then started a recruitment business, but I'm actively trying to make myself redundant. Trying to get myself a process put in place. Where I'm not actively having to be on the tools as such. So that's what the E-Myth teaches. It's how to build a business that works for you, rather than you working for a business.
Yeah.
Right, guys, so I'm absolutely pumped to say the Takeoff Podcast is proud to be sponsored by RIB Software, the company behind some of the leading estimating software in the entire planet, including Costex, Candy, CX, and more. So firstly, if you didn't know, RIB are a powerhouse at providing innovative software solutions to the construction and engineering markets. They have over 500,000 users globally, are known universally as a solution provider for your entire project lifecycle, from planning to construction and beyond. RIB solutions help to ultimately connect people, processes, and data, so your project comes within budget, on time, and to the quality desired, all whilst reducing your business's carbon footprint. All this stuff matters, and RIB has the solutions. So if you're interested in finding out more, get on over to rib-software.com, reach out to your local team and quote Takeoff Podcast. For every listener who buys a subscription of RIB Costex, they will provide one free online training course. Okay, guys, back to the episode. I guess, when you started the company, because there'll be a lot of listeners who'll be sort of going, okay, so, I'd love to do something like that. What were the main lessons that you learned in the early years of starting Hudson Homes?
The building industry is very different to the financial services industry. In the financial service industry, we work with very high-end professionals, people who are university graduates, people who have a very clear career progression. I found the building industry to be the complete opposite of that. In particular, the residential home building industry. A few years later, we started Hudson Commercial, which did commercial developments. And the people running our commercial division would be amazed at how we could even build a single house in the residential division. It's still a cottage industry. It's still run by mum and dad trades. And I think overcoming those challenges, having that less professionalism in the trade force, sadly, I think the quality of tradesmanship in Australia has declined over the past 15, 20 years. I've seen it gradually getting worse and worse every single year. And that's led to a lot of frustration in the industry. Builders are frustrated right now. Customers are frustrated. But we've been doing it in exactly the same way since, World War II. The industry has not changed, other than maybe having some additional software that builders use to better manage their business or CRMs. There has been no fundamental shift like in your example of Uber changing the taxi industry. So what we're looking at doing is setting up a tech-based solution to a traditional industry.
So talk me through that. What does Build Buddy do?
So essentially, Build Buddy is a software platform that enables anybody to build their own home. They can design, approve, and build their own home without ever having to engage a builder. And since they're not having to pay a builder's margin, the main benefit is that it rewards users with savings of as much as 20%, or we're saying possibly even more, off the cost of building a home. So essentially, the app or a platform, there's two parts to it. There's Build Buddy, which is for the customer, and there's Build Buddy Pro, which is for the service providers, your consultants, your contractors, and your suppliers. And what Build Buddy does is it will tell a customer exactly what they need to do each day, how they're going to do it, and then it connects them to a marketplace of verified trades. So basically it tells them what to do, how to do it, and then connects them to the people who are going to do it. Now, a lot of people think, well, hang on a second, building a home is a lot more complicated than just trying to organise trades. And we're certainly aware of that. And we put certain safety nets in place to make sure that the jobs can progress properly. For example, when we say you don't need a builder, we still give every customer a licensed builder on site, except that licensed builder is now, the whole dynamic of the relationship has changed because the licensed builder works for them in the capacity of a site supervisor. So if you look at a company like Hudson Homes, whilst I am a builder now, and I've done my certificate in building, and I can officially say that I am a builder with more than 20 years experience now, I'm not the one who builds the homes. It's the site supervisor that builds the home. And the biggest disconnect we could find is that there was a world of difference between the traditional builder model, where a customer would just hand over full responsibility to the builder to deliver the end product, and the owner-builder model, which, whilst they could save money in the owner-builder model, there was very little knowledge and very little experience. So that industry was even worse than what the traditional building industry was. What we had to come up with was a new way of construction. So we completely re-engineered the way a house is built, and we came up with a concept that we're calling collaborative construction. Now, collaborative construction is where teams work together, accessing information from the same portal, messaging through the same portal, accessing the same plans, the same schedules. So we feel that that leads to a much more efficient construction program, as opposed to the way that we've been doing it for the past 75 years.
What was the reason that you decided to build this? So obviously, you look at Hudson Homes, and then you look at Build Buddy, and then you mentioned that at the beginning of the process. It's like, it's ironic. You're teaching effectively how to build and maybe cut your nose off to spite your face kind of thing,
That's funny, isn't it?
What was the driver behind this?
It was actually a phone call that I received from a customer. So all my customers at Hudson Homes have my personal phone number. If you walk into any Hudson Homes display, you'll see a picture of me there, and it says, here's my phone number, here's my email address. If anything goes wrong, please reach out to me. Now, a customer did reach out to me, and he rings me up one day, and he says to me, Danny, Hudson Homes, he goes, you guys are the worst painters. I said, okay, well, what's happened? And he sends me through a few photographs of his home. It was up on the Central Coast in New South Wales. And I agreed with him. The paint quality wasn't the best. So I ring up Barry, who's our painter on the Central Coast, and I ring him up and I said, Barry, what's happened here? Oh, I'm sorry, Danny, I'll go out on Wednesday and fix it. So I ring up the customer and I said, customer's name, but Barry will be there on Wednesday to repair. I didn't hear anything further. And on Friday, we get a 1-star review on Product Review, I think it was. And it was, Hudson Homes don't keep their promises. They're the worst painters. And I was trying to explain to the customer that, we outsource it to, or subcontract it to a painter. And I ring up Barry. I said, Barry, what happened? His answer, Wednesday. I said, mate, surf was up, he said to me. So he went surfing. I thought, how unfair is that? How unfair is it that we're a builder that cares? Unfortunately, the trade didn't. We got the bad review, and the idea then got planted, or the seed got planted in my mind that why don't we create an app that helps trades, help review trades? And that's how it was going to start off. And then I thought to myself, well, what is it that a builder actually does? Why do people pay us 20 or 25%? And I narrowed it down to 3 things. One, we have a workflow. We have a step-by-step process that we follow that takes every home through the exact same journey from, site excavation to, the slab and the frames and the brickwork, et cetera, et cetera. The second thing we have is we have contacts. We have a supplier base. We have pre-negotiated supply discounts. We have a trade base. And the third thing is you'd hope a good quality builder has some quality assurance and safety protocols built into there. That's basically what a builder does. So then I thought, well, let's flow chart exactly what a builder does. And I ended up with 9 A1 sheets of paper with about 1,000 boxes and about 3,000 arrows. And I had it laid out on my floor, and I thought, this is the journey that a customer goes through if they want to build their own home. And I looked at it and I thought, forget it. It's way too hard. You cannot put this into an app. And then when COVID came and we didn't have much to do and were sitting around, I sat with an old friend of mine who was a software engineer, and I showed him this idea and what the idea was, that a customer can go through and do all this themselves. And he said, that's brilliant. He goes, why don't we just get started on it? 3 years later, with 12 software engineers working in-house, we created an app that does all that. And it does so much more than just a workflow. So even one of the biggest problems in the industry at the moment is builders going bust. And it's not just customers that get affected, but it's also tradespeople. So tradespeople cop a massive loss when a builder goes bust. On our platform, that's impossible to happen. We've created trust accounts, online trust accounts, where money's being deposited into digital wallets. So the money's held in trust until the work's completed. So the customer is safe, the trade is safe. And all we've essentially done is cut out the middleman that takes the 20 or 25%. At the end of the day, the idea is to deliver better value housing to mums and dads. And I couldn't do it through Hudson Homes, but I can do it through Build Buddy.
So, just say, for example, myself, my wife, we're looking to build our own home. We download Build Buddy. What do we expect? What's the sort of, me, no construction experience, what's the sort of flow?
Okay, so let's say that you're starting at the very, very beginning and you've got a block of land and you haven't even got a design yet, because the first thing you do is once you download the app, we run you through a wizard, and the wizard will determine exactly where you are up to in your home building journey. So if you are at the very beginning, then it's going to create a workflow for you based on what you need to do. So the first thing you need to do is, and the computer, the app will come up and say your task for today is to get a site survey done. So click on this button to request quotes for site surveys. Now, you don't know what to ask for when you're asking for a site survey. So what the app will give you is a complete scope of works as to exactly what you need to ask for from a surveyor. Over the next day or two, you're going to get 3 or 4 quotes from local surveyors that say, $600 for me, or it's $500 for someone else, or $800. You can read their reviews, you can read what other users have said about them, and you make a selection. Once you select that person, they automatically accept that job. It creates a contract between the two of you, and the contract is dependent upon the value that's created. And he goes out and does the survey and delivers you the survey. That survey then gets uploaded to your document library, because the next thing you need to do is you need to start working with an architectural designer. So the task will come up and say, request quotes for architectural designers. Now, you can either choose one of the 200 designs that we've got, and within our app, you can actually see if it's council compliant. It's connected to every council in Australia, New Zealand, and Northern America at this stage. It downloads data every single day. But most people don't want to do that themselves, but they can if they want to. But it will connect you to a number of local architects. And then you start working with the architect. And it will just continue with every single step that you need to do until you finish building the house. It's intuitive. It knows what prerequisite steps are required before the next task comes up. And it follows basically building industry best practice. So every day you might have 2 or 3 tasks that you need to do.
So say, for example, you contact the architect creates a design. Does he or she publish that design back into BuildBuddy? And so then the steps can be more accurate, or how does that work?
Yeah, so what happens is they automatically upload that to your document library. The document library is created so that whoever the service provider is that requires access to certain documents, they immediately have access to that document. And that's what we mean about collaborative construction. So let's say, for example, a plumber. A plumber is going to need certain bits of information in order to, 1, quote the job for you, and 2, to complete the job. And there's certain bits of information he doesn't need. So all the things that a plumber needs are automatically attached and accessible by that plumber to complete your work. The most recent versions are uploaded as well, so they've got access to that. The communication happens to the platform as well, and it keeps a record of all that. So what it's designed to do is eliminate the need for distant corporate offices or head offices or multiple levels of management to access the information that you need when you're out on site. And everything is available at their fingertips.
So just as an example, like say if it was myself and my wife, we haven't got construction experience. So in the case of going to a Hudson Homes, we can go, it's great because they're going to deal with it all. We can go to work and earn money and, do all of that sort of stuff.
Correct.
But would it mean that we would be chasing up plumbers, trying to get, concrete poured, are we dealing with all of that ourselves? Like, how does that all sort of work?
One of the things we love to promote at BuildBuddy is we say the choice is always yours. So one of the first tasks that comes up when you are about to enter the construction phase, because there's the pre-construction phase, which is getting you to the point where you're ready to start construction, and the construction phase. The very first task you get is request quotes for your construction buddy. Now, we call them your construction buddy because what they essentially are experienced builders who act in the capacity of a site supervisor. Now, they're available to you in 3 different levels. So we have a Tier 1, Tier 2, and a Tier 3. A Tier 1 is a thanks but no thanks. I've got this. I know what I'm doing. I've built many houses before. I'm taking time off work. I want to do this myself. Now, even at the Tier 1 level, we still are insistent on having a construction buddy just to come out and do 7 independent safety inspections, just to make sure that everything is compliant and it keeps the owner out of jail and make sure that our trades are safe. A Tier 2 is designed for somebody who is, listen, I've built a couple of houses before. I kind of know what I'm doing, but I'd love to meet a licensed builder on site for a couple of hours every single week just to check up on me. A Tier 3 is the one that's designed for somebody like you. I never want to go on site. So I want to hire a full-time site supervisor to manage this project for me. They're the ones that do all that work for you. Except, like I said earlier, the dynamic of that relationship has changed in the sense that they now work for you. And at the end of the job, you're going to rate them. And what we've created is a marketplace for site supervisors. 10 years ago, there was no such thing as an Uber driver. It didn't exist. Right now, a site supervisor can only work for a major builder or any other builder. They can't go out and offer that as a service. So what we're creating with Build Buddy Services is the ability for somebody who is an experienced builder who may want to not work full time and may want to manage their son's soccer team or football team and say, I'm only going to look after 5 clients and I'm going to give them the best service possible. I'm going to work 3 days a week. Or on the other hand, you might have somebody that says, you know what, I'm really excited. I want to go out there and I'm going to look after 20 clients and I'm going to work 6-7 days a week and do whatever I need to do. So we're creating that marketplace for a site supervisor to be able to deliver that to somebody like you. Their job would be to open the site each day, coordinate the trades. And again, it's all done via the platform. So the calendar on the platform tells them exactly what they need to do. But the owner can see everything that's happening. It's full transparency. So the owner's always in control, but they're never left alone.
Understood. So if somebody, say, for example, we've got site supervisors, site managers listening to this, what is the benefit for them? Is it the benefit that they can have that flexibility? They can engage with 2 projects, 10 projects. Is it guaranteed weekly rate pay? What's that look like?
Well, at the moment, the way we've done it is we employ our site supervisors. I'm very fortunate that I've got a good base at Hudson Homes. So I've taken some of the best site supervisors we've got at Hudson Homes, and I give them the ability to earn some extra money by looking after some Build Buddy customers. So I'm carrying that at the moment because the number of jobs that we have doesn't warrant building up a team of 30 or 40 site supervisors. But as time progresses, there will be enough work on the platform for him to then leave Hudson Homes and earn his own money. Now, he might choose to say he might be a fantastic site supervisor and he'll have 30 5-star reviews and he might be at the rate of, say, $25,000 to build a customer's home for him and everyone else is at $20,000. But when you read so many great reviews about somebody and they're going to charge you a few extra $1,000, I think customers are willing to do that for the extra peace of mind and security, especially when they're not paying a 20 or 25% builder's margin. So they're saving money anyway. And the whole idea of building up the marketplace through Build Buddy Pro is to reward the trades that look after the customers. So if you're going to go out there and do the right thing by a customer and you're a framing carpenter and you've got 35-star reviews and you're charging $12,000 to erect a set of frames and everyone else is charging $10,000, but they've got horrible reviews, I feel customers will be more inclined to take the peace of mind and security, pay the extra couple of $1,000. Now, the 2 lessons in that is this. 1, you're going to build a better quality home because somebody really cares about the work they're doing. And 2, it gives the opportunity for the tradesperson to earn some extra money and not have to charge himself out at volume builder rates, which is quite low, and build up their own business.
And so obviously you wouldn't want to lose all your top quality guys from Hudson Homes. I assume, you want to keep your good quality people there. How do you go about attracting quality supervisors to come aboard of Build Buddy? I used to run a contract desk for about 4 or 5 years. I had about 40 site supervisors working for me. Different assignments all over the place. And you can get some amazing site supervisors, and then like anything in the world, you can get some really average ones. How do you get them, and then how do you quality test them?
It's a great question because it's always been tough to find the great site supervisors. The great site supervisors don't move. They stay where they are because they're doing a great job. And their employer won't let them move. So when they decide they want to move on, they'll do whatever they need to do to keep them. So we have always tried to recruit the best site supervisors we can at Hudson Homes. To do this merger between Hudson Homes and Build Buddy, if I've got my average site supervisor, say, looking after 12 homes, I might allocate 3 homes for Build Buddy to one site supervisor, and they look after 7 homes for Hudson Homes. Slowly, that transition will start to happen. So they might get 4 homes for Build Buddy and 6 homes for Hudson Homes. So the balance and the ratio, I'm constantly adjusting. But my hope is this. My hope is that when they can see that the extra money they can earn by looking after customers directly and building their own site supervisory business, that will help me attract better quality site supervisors from other building companies because I think they can double their income. Now, if you're a site supervisor on whatever salary they're on, $120,000 or $130,000 a year, and I'm saying to you, you can potentially double that for doing the same amount of work, I think that's appealing.
Guys, I'm interrupting this podcast today to give you some information as to what I actually do every single day. So I own and operate a business called Get In Executive Recruitment. We're a specialist boutique recruitment company and we specialize purely in the pre-construction and commercial construction markets globally. We're really well known and respected for our work in estimating, cost management, quantity surveying and contract administration. Because we're hyper niche, we don't have millions of candidates. We don't really even have thousands, but more times than not, we have the right candidate for the right job at the right time. Unlike a lot of recruitment agents out there, we are super experienced in what we do. We understand the market, we understand what makes our clients tick and our candidates tick too. Each and every single assignment we work on undergoes an extensive executive search process. It's robust and it works 100% of the time. We've also got a team of 5 researchers who map our markets out globally within our niche. They're amazing. They allow us to work fast, which saves our clients time and money too. So if you're interested in our process, drop us a message. Now back to the episode.
It is appealing, but why would it be appealing to Hudson Homes? So, for example, is it because you have less overheads? Because you're using an app rather than.
The truth is, it's not appealing to Hudson Homes. So, in order for me to create this, people thought I had rocks in my head when I first told them in the industry. I'm friends with many of the other CEOs of a lot of the other major building companies, and I told them this idea about a couple of years ago, and they honestly thought I'd gone mad. They said, well, you're taking customers away from Hudson Homes and resources away from Hudson Homes. But please remember, Build Buddy is not for everybody. I reckon it's for about 20% of the market. It's 1 out of every 5 people will be suitable for Build Buddy. It's for people who really want to control their build. It's people who don't mind being a part of their construction process and people who want to save money. So there'll always be demand for builders. But if I take away 20% of the work from Hudson Homes, I'm willing to make that sacrifice because at the same token, I'll be taking 20% away from other builders because they're not catering for that part of the market that wants to have that greater level of control over their building process. So it is a bit of a kamikaze mission. I am affecting sales at Hudson Homes by introducing people to Build Buddy. But at the end of the day, it's about delivering a better quality and better value product to the consumer. And I don't think nothing has done that in the building industry other than builders trying to, reduce their prices and offer better service. And like I said, it's not for everybody, but if it's right for you, it is a fantastic option.
Yeah. And is it all types of homes then, Danny, or what type of, would be that typical sort of home build?
Not at this stage, it's not. So at this stage, we only do one style of home. So when I say one style of home, it's basic slab on ground construction. It can be brick veneer, it can be double brick, it could be a Hebel home. So we have workflows. So we need to create a workflow for each different style of home. Type of homes that we don't do at the moment are things that are very unique, such as things that incorporate commercial construction methodologies, poured concrete walls, for instance. It is basic brick veneer style construction. But again, it could be double brick, it could be slab on ground. We can do basements, we can do granny flats. The next module that we're going to work on is the renovation module. Now, the renovation module is a lot more complicated than a new home because a new home follows the same workflow. So this is where we're starting to work with some AI engineers about looking at the workflows that we have and adapting them and having the computer be able to assess a set of plans and determine what is the correct workflow for that renovation project. And I say we're probably about 9 months away from launching that.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So, I mean, obviously the DIY market is huge. That's people love to add their own sort of, I guess, flavor to their home. As you said, people are emotionally invested into it. So, is the home completely customizable? From a visionary, from an aesthetic sort of feel to the home?
Our motto at Build Buddy is the choice is always yours. So it is completely limitless. So even when we go to Hudson Homes, you've got to choose from one of 200 different designs. With Build Buddy, you don't. You have 3 options. You can either pick one of our standard designs, no problem. You can do that. You can get in very cost effectively. You can ask it to connect you to an existing architect on our platform and come up with something completely custom, or you can simply upload your existing design. So the choice is completely up to the customer, not just with the selection of design, but also the selection of all their fixtures and fittings. So you don't have to just choose from a builder's range of product. If it exists in the marketplace, you can buy it and you can use it on your home.
So if I'm the, say, client, I'm the customer, do I pay Build Buddy, or, how do you make money from this?
No, we make our money from the supply side. So at the moment, the software is completely free for users to use. So they can jump on, they can use as much as they want, as little as they want. When they meet somebody on the platform and somebody from the platform has offered them a price that they believe is better than anything else they're going to get, we'll receive a few percentage points from the supplier every time they transact on the platform. So whether it's the brick company or the tile company or the plumber, any person that they meet on the platform.
And I guess one thing that I would be slightly worried about is, like insurances. Like, is this something that anything goes wrong, the market crashes, we've got another COVID sort of situation? What's my protection like, if that makes sense, Danny?
Okay, so you can still take out construction insurance. So if anything goes wrong on site, if there's fire or damage or anything disastrous like that, you're still protected. So there are insurance products that are available for that. What is different in the owner-builder model compared to going through a traditional builder is homeowner's warranty. An owner-builder doesn't have homeowner's warranty. However, what we've done is we have appointed a site supervisor who is a licensed builder, and if their contract value is greater than $20,000, which inevitably it is, they will have the homeowner's warranty insurance in place. Now, homeowner's insurance, despite what a lot of people think, it doesn't really protect the owner that much. It only comes into effect if the builder goes bust. So if the builder goes bust, it covers you up to your next progress payment, and it's capped at about 20% of the contract price. So it doesn't offer you all that great a level of protection. When you're going through an owner-builder model, you don't have a builder. So there is nobody to go bust. If your tradesperson goes bust, then you'd have to find another tradesperson to complete that work. But the important thing is, because we use digital wallets, no money is transferred until the job is complete. So the customer is protected in that sense.
Okay, understood.
But there are insurance products available.
And then if you're on the other side of that, you're the painter, for example, my dad's a plumber, and so I'm not too sure how it works, obviously, specifically in your case, but when he sometimes would take a third up front and maybe get 2/3 at the end of the job.
Correct.
If what's the benefit for a subcontractor in that situation?
Yeah, so let's take a plumber. It's a great example. So a plumber would have 3 or 4 different milestone payments. So the first thing they need to do is they need to come out on site before the slab goes down, and lay down all their plumbing, dig out all their trenches and so on. So you might say that in your quote, if it's $30,000, $5,000 needs to be paid once we've completed that first trench of work. Okay. So what happens is, when the customer accepts your quote and you're ready to commence, they will pay the $5,000 from their digital wallet into your digital wallet, the plumber. Now, you can't touch that money, but neither can the customer. Once it's in the digital wallet, it's essentially an online digital trust account. You go complete the work. You then send a notification to the customer that says the plumbing work for this stage is now complete. The customer will then get a quality assurance checklist that comes up on their app that says, okay, before you release the money, make sure these 7 things have been done. Check, 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 check. If they're not done, then via the platform, you raise a defect and the plumber gets alerted and says, no, this part's not done. The plumber can then come out, rectify that work. Once the work's rectified and you're happy as the customer, you then release the money to the plumber. Now, we have dispute resolutions in place. So our mission is to not just protect the customer, but also to protect the trade. So let's say, for example, the customer doesn't want to pay you because they don't think your quality of work is right. We will then send out an independent building inspector, and they will ask the customer, so, Mr. Customer, why are you not paying paying the plumber? Now, the customer might turn around and say, you know what, I don't like his hairstyle. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Customer, that's not a reason to not pay them. The work's done to complying standards. We're releasing the money. On the other hand, he may turn around and say, listen, this part here is not done in compliance. Mr. Plumber, you need to come out and fix this. Now, if the plumber wants to stay on the platform and continue to service customers, and he knows that the money's sitting there, I believe, and knowing he's going to get a review from the customer, it's a lot easier for the plumber to come out, fix the work, get it done, get paid, and move on. And that's what we're hoping to build with this platform. It changes the dynamic of the relationship.
But it's really interesting because my old man, as I said, he's a plumber. He lives in Ireland, works in Ireland. He's in his late 60s, and he uses a platform. Now it's something, he goes on, gets bids for small jobs, goes out and does the work, and he absolutely loves it, because it does give him that sort of flexibility. He might not need to work for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden he bids for a couple of jobs, wins them, goes out and does the work, gets the reviews, So
That's
this
right.
obviously is a different model, but there's similar sort of I guess benefits.
Yeah, it's exactly right. There's platforms like that here as well, like Airtasker, for example. You can go on a job in Airtasker, and what's good about it is they use the exact same payment gateway that we use. So it's the same theory of having a digital trust account. So if I'm going to get somebody to remove my rubbish and say, I'm going to give you $500, remove this rubbish, I transfer the $500 to the online digital trust account at the beginning of the transaction. So they never have to chase the money. Now, they don't get the money until they've finished the work. And it's the exact same thing with this. The difference with our marketplace is a closed marketplace. So in other words, if you're a plumber, it's like Uber. You can't just download the Uber driver app and instantly become a driver. You've got to go through a verification process. It's the exact same with us as well. And if plumbers are getting plenty of work from our platform and getting the right kind of work, then they're going to better respect that relationship and look after the customer better because they want to maintain their online reviews and their ratings on the BuildBuddy Pro platform. Yeah,
and nowadays online reviews and ratings are everything. It's very important. Super important.
Yeah, nothing like that exists for the home building industry. Now, the trades that we have on our platform will be different to the trades that you have on an Airtasker or a High Pages or something like that. I mean, I can find a trade on High Pages to come and hang a picture for me. We have major trades that only service the volume building industry on our platform.
So what's obviously you give me the origin story and why this has come together. What's fueling the passion behind this, Danny? Why create something like this?
I think it can have a massive difference in the marketplace. I think the cost of construction has gone up so much. I believe something like 38% over the past 3 years we've increased our prices. Home affordability is the worst it's ever been. More builders are going bust. The building industry is broken. Something needs to change. And I'm looking for a tech-based solution that's going to hopefully fix that. Now, when you put the power back in the hands of the consumer, where the consumer is properly guided with the right level of guidance and support being offered to each individual customer, whether it's done through office staff who are helping him through the pre-construction phase or done by real people who we call construction buddies done on site, that guidance is going to help somebody go through that process. The big benefit is they will save 20% and more off the cost of building their home. And when you're talking about homes that are worth $1 million, that's significant. One of our first ladies in New South Wales, her quote came in from a builder at $1.8 million. Through BuildBuddy, she's building it for $1.2 million. That was through a custom builder. She's saving about 30% off the cost of construction, and that's real savings. So for somebody wanting to get involved in the process, yes, they do need to do a little bit more work than they need to do if they're going to just hand it over to, say, Hudson Homes to build for them. But most of that work is computer work. It's done on their phone. It's done on their tablet. It's done on their desktop computer where they're looking at quotes and reviewing who they want to build their home, because the secret to building is great trades build great homes.
Yeah, 100%. No, I agree. And just lastly, so if I was to go get a mortgage, and I'm speaking to my bank, would they lend based on this?
Typically, banks don't like to lend to owner builders, which is why we don't use the word owner builder at all. So we call this a collaborative construction methodology. And what we've done is we've bridged the gap between the traditional builder, where you don't have any control and you have limited choice, to the owner builder, where you've got full control, but unfortunately limited knowledge and limited skill. So we are combining the two, and we've come up with something called collaborative construction. Now, I started talking to banks about 18 months ago about offering this owner builder style product. And as soon as I used the word owner builder, the answer was no. But I've now managed to get a major financial institution. We've set up a division called Finance Buddy, which is specifically offering 80% lends, which is what you get on a typical home, to people using the BuildBuddy platform.
Brilliant. That's awesome. That's fantastic. I think it makes such a big difference when you do look at a 20% cost saving. You look at an average house build, whatever it might be, $1 million plus.
Well,
You're
Build
saving
Buddy is just
hundreds of
about
thousands.
building differently. That's all it is. It's taking all the knowledge that we do as a builder, and instead of having a builder run you through the process, the tech does that. The app is an intuitive app. It's an intuitive workflow that knows exactly what's happening on site because your trades check in and check out. It knows exactly what's going on. It knows exactly where you're up to. It will send you notification when you've got to order your bricks. It'll send you a notification when you've got to contact Harvey Norman and tell them to release the taps, and they get the same notification. So everybody's getting what we typically did as humans, as builders. It's being done automatically via the app.
Amazing. So, I think that's a great way to finish, Danny.
Sure.
I mean, if there's anyone interested in this, so you're going to have obviously the supply side, the subcontractors, the supervisors. If there's got people listening to this that want to get in, I guess, in contact, or those interested in maybe going through this sort of process.
Yeah.
What's the best way to touch base?
Well, the best way is to start our website. So the website is buildbuddy.au. There's no .com in there, just buildbuddy.au. On that, if you're a tradesperson, you can go to the pro side and you can lodge an inquiry that way. And we have a dedicated team that looks specifically after the Build Buddy pros. If you're on the consumer side, we're about to launch a new thing called Build Buddy World, which we should be launching in the next 2 weeks, which is the world's first 41 home display village that's 100% virtual. So you can literally walk through the streets, walk into any display home, get in contact with our staff that way as well, look at some designs. But again, you can just request a demo online, and one of our customer service or customer experience managers will be happy to show you through the software and how it works.
Amazing. It's an incredible world that we're living through for this technology innovation. You can just see so many different possibilities for residential construction. It's a very exciting time.
Yeah, like I said, it hasn't changed since World War II, and I think this is the first real disruption. It's the first one of its kind in the world. So people often say to me either I'm really, really clever or really, really stupid. And time will tell which one it is. So.
Well, I wish you all the best with it, Danny, and we'll certainly push this out there. I think it's a great product and a very exciting time. So thank you for being part of the Takeoff podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
Before you go today, guys, I'm just going to ask you to do one thing. Can you please go to Apple right now or Spotify right now and just give us those 5 stars? Hit that 5-star button. It makes such a difference you wouldn't believe. The whole idea of this show is to inspire, educate, and motivate our listeners. And we only do that if we're getting the best guests. The best guests want to see data. They want to see information. They want to see how many listeners that we get. And so all of this stuff is really, really important. So if you can just literally go and do that today, if you enjoy the show, just go and hit that 5-star button. It makes such a difference. I hope you've enjoyed the show. We're going to continue to push this out there every Monday. So if you can, hit that 5-star button. And if you can't, even share it with a friend. Go on to WhatsApp, flick it on to your crew. Guys, thank you so much for listening. On to next week.